Hey, Faith family, Pastor Chad here. Again, just with another quick little devotional. You guys probably about now feel a little overwhelmed. Uh, Maybe even normal things that we used to do, but in different quantities, like the technology. Most of us that are watching this have seen YouTube, been on Facebook. I mean, we're used to emails, text messages, might even FaceTime and things of that nature. But a lot of times we do it like in dosages. And now it just seems like, man, we're like been bombarded with, a lot of it for a lot of different reasons, and a lot of it good. I say that like today, one of the things I have a chance of doing is working, kind of part-time with a school at North Florida Christian School. And, we've been preparing and trying to get ready for like this remote learning, like taking stuff online. And so throughout the day, I had like 4 or 5 different like class meetings, and it was all done in the living room on a computer with a bunch of kids in different living rooms, and we use Zoom. I'd never heard of Zoom until about a week ago. Right by the end of the day, I was stressed out. I was like overwhelmed, like, oh, so much technology. And that's just a little thing right now, right? Because there's a lot going on. And I want to encourage you guys with a couple quick words today. Philippians 4:13. It's a verse I bet a lot of you guys know. I can do all things through Christ, which gives me, or who gives me strength. Like, great words of encouragement, right? A lot of you guys probably have it like on a coffee cup, or maybe the old school calendars, or a picture or something like that. Like, great words of encouragement. I want to remind us of something. That when Paul wrote those words, he penned those words in a letter to the Philippians. Paul wasn't necessarily in a comfortable position, a comfortable circumstance. In fact, Paul's writing that letter while he's in jail. In jail, those are difficult days, and I dare say that being in jail 2,000 years ago probably looked significantly different than what it looks like today. For some of us, like right now, in the midst of this self-quarantine, and I'm not trying to make light of any of this, but for some of us, like having to stay home feels like we're in jail. But if you back up one verse from Philippians 4:13 to Philippians 4:12, Paul makes this great statement, and really verses 12 and 13 should always be connected together, because he says this: I know how to be brought low, I know how to abound in any and every circumstance. I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. So Paul kind of says, he goes, listen, I've experienced the highs of life, I've experienced the lows of life. I've been bitten by snakes, I've been shipwrecked, I've been in prison, I've been part of a lot of glorious things. I've seen a lot of things. In the midst of the good, in the midst of the bad, I found the secret to being content. Man, I'm glad he gives us that secret. Because that secret is Philippians 4:13. That I can do all things. Those all things, and that God gives us the strength to do the good things and the hard things. He gives us the strength to go through all the joys and the happiness. And guys, he gives us the strength to go through the struggles and the hardships. I want to encourage you guys. One of the things that I've learned, like some of you, as you've been watching these videos the last couple of days, maybe you're thinking, like, how in the world can Chad sit here with a smile? Like, in the midst of everything going on, in the midst of all the caution of the coronavirus, in the midst of the stock market going up and down, in the midst of the restaurants closing, in the midst of kids being told to stay home, in the midst of all of this kind of craziness and chaos and uncertainty, like, how can we keep smiling? How can Chad keep smiling? Listen, I'm far from perfect. I've got a lot of growing that I need to do. But I want to encourage you in this. The reason we can smile, the reason I can smile, is because Christ gives me the strength. Sometimes I think we forget, like, some of you watch this, you might think like Jesus is like nowhere to be found. Like he's in some far remote place and has no idea what's going on. Or he has no idea what it feels like to go through these things. Y'all, the Bible's pretty clear. You read the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I mean, spend some time reading the story of Jesus. Read about all the struggles he went through. Read about when he was tempted. That 40 days, when he fasted for 40 days, and the temptations that Jesus went through. Read about the stories of the persecution, of how the people neglected him, how the people talked bad about him, how the people made fun of him. The religious leaders of his day came after him. Ultimately, how Jesus died on the cross, how he was arrested, beaten, persecuted, and he died on the cross. He did it for a purpose. He did it for me. He did it for you. He did it so we had access to Christ. We had access to God. That we had an opportunity to go to heaven if we believe in him. But I say all that to say, he knows absolutely what we're going through. And he promises us that he'll give us the strength to go through it. Faith family, I'm praying for you. Those of you who are watching, I might not know you. I may never see you before, may never meet you. While I might not know your name, I want you to know I'm praying for you. I'm praying that we all can find our strength in Christ. I'm praying that we can all find our encouragement in him. So today, as we gather together individually with families, and maybe a little later as you get ready to have dinner, maybe you can remind the kids, your grandkids, nieces and nephews. Maybe you need to remind your spouse who's kind of struggling with this. Hey, I can do all things through Christ who gives me the strength. We can't do that on our own. We can't smile through this. We can't find joy. We can't find peace on our own. But if we give it to Christ, he promised us to give us the strength. And he'll give us the peace and the hope. I love you guys. If you need me, I'm here. See you soon.